Hey guys, welcome back to another race. I'm going to try and do some more catch up on commentary. This is always the slowest part. The racing and the recording is always really easy, but if I want to put on commentary, it takes a little bit more time. But I'm going to try and catch up. I'm going to go ahead and do sped up videos for at least for this one, because this is a long race. This is one of the ZRL races from last season. It was like the second to last race of the season, so not too long ago. We just started the second season back up a few weeks ago. So Temples and Towers, this is a long course, and I believe this was a points race. So there are 3 different climbs with 3 different lengths, and they all had different segments that we were able to go for. I was just going to do my best to stay in the group, and I think the really good thing about this race was I was able to be with people almost the entire race. So I got dropped from the front group, but I was able to always be with someone, which was really helpful, because sometimes in these really long courses, depending on how many people are in it and what the climbs are like, you can just be all alone, and it's very sad. And I know that people were all alone, and it can still be really hard, and people are just doing their best. But this was nice for me to be able to actually do a course with some climbs, but also have people to work with. All right, so Temples and Towers, we start in the city of Neokyo. As you can see, lots of bright lights, lots of corners. We're going to go up the rooftop KLM, and then the temple KLM and the castle KLM. I think I swapped those. Anyways, they get longer as they go on. So this is I think the shortest. I don't know, maybe rooftop and castle are about the same in length. Castle, maybe this one actually is a little bit longer. Anyways, I'd have to look that up. But you'll be able to see it's relatively flat with a little bit of rolls. Like right here, we just had a little bit of a bump, but most of Neokyo is very flat until we get to the rooftop. So we'll get to that climb and we'll talk about it. But for now, just trying to hang on in this field of 97 women. Such a big field, such a strong field. So we'll just see how it goes. Thanks for tuning in. Alright, so we are just 2 miles into this course, but we're already hitting the first climb. There's the dots right there, and this is the side I'm most familiar with for the rooftop KLM. I believe both sides now are considered segments. At some point, it was only one-sided, but the other day I just went up the other direction. I was like, I don't know this direction at all. But I know this way really well. It's very much in like stair steps. So you go up a little bit and then it kind of flattens out for a second. And you go up a little bit and then flattens out for a second. And that's helpful for me because I can kind of punch the steep parts and then sit for a second and then punch again. I believe when we got to the top, I was all punched out though. Just trying to stay with this group. You can see how just hard it is to really stay in and not get left behind. There's people at least 2 seconds in front of me now. And yeah, there's even someone off the front. So really going hard for it. Since this was a segment, people were going to be really pushing. So just doing my best to hang on and not killing myself. And we'll just see how it goes. Alright, looks like I'm reaching my point of disconnection. I think I was just punched out at this point. I know I'm really close. And I'm probably hoping that someone will pull me in and I try to stay with this group. But that front group was just really fast. And okay, so here's the finish of the climb. We're going to take a right corner and come around the banner. And then I believe a lot of people got anvils here, which just was really tricky. Oh, no, wait, this is the one that was set up. I remember now. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done this race. So this was an interesting choice by ZRL. They gave everyone the exact same power-up at every banner. So everyone got an arrow, which is just really interesting. I'm not sure I like that, because it's like, here's the game, but we're going to force the game to not be a game anymore. Because it's like a gaming element, but when everyone has that at the exact same time, or like the exact same one, it seems a little bit strange. But it worked. I was happy to have an arrow, and I was able to stay with this group, and at least I have a group to come down the hill with. That was the main thing. But you can see I was really close to that front group, and now they're like 10 seconds ahead. And I guess 8 seconds ahead. So just the speed of the bigger groups, and a lot of them were all fighting for positions, so they came over that top with more speed because they were really carrying their speed through the banner, versus this group probably just wasn't carrying as much speed. They were like, well, we're in 40th place, so there's not really any point. But I'm with my teammate, J-Bake, and that's always exciting, to be with a teammate on the course. Alright, so going down the rooftop, we're going to go through another sprint banner. It was interesting to see who did choose to use their power-ups if they didn't want the one that was like coming up here, because they let us know which power-ups were going to be what. I definitely wanted this arrow, this feather for the next climb, so I used my arrow. To me, that made a lot of sense in how they did that, so I will say this feather for the next climb. Alright, so it's really nice to just be in a group, to be able to go through all this flat section with a draft. I'm definitely not going to be doing anything exciting. I was very sad for this person using their feather right now when it's like 0 to negative whatever percentage. I was like, no, don't do it now. But maybe they really needed it. I mean, sometimes you just are barely hanging on, and if you have a power-up, you should use it. So sometimes it's, I think, people not realizing what the power-up is and not knowing the course, and sometimes it's just doing whatever they can. And then here's my teammate Katie telling my other teammate Danielle to jump on to a group that they're in, and I think they stayed together most of the race, which is great. So we're gonna go through the arcade. I think this is the outdoor arcade. There's a indoor arcade in a different spot, but mostly flat until we reach the country. So we're going to go out of the city pretty soon, and then we will come to another climb. This is just a virtual banner, so I think a lot of people dropped power-ups not realizing you don't get a power-up when you go through this banner. This is not the real one. It's a fake one. That's used for races as a finish line. But that one, I guess it's interesting that they keep it there for this course, even though we're not going. Oh, you know what? I think we do return to that one. We might actually return to that banner, depending on where we started and finished. This course can be kind of tricky to know, like, which part we start on, which part we end on. So you'll be able to get a good view of McCurry Islands and the city. Alright, here's the tunnel that we're going through to leave the city. And you know what? I think that virtual banner we went through is the finish line, but we're going to be going in the opposite direction, because this is how we come back to the city, and then the finish line was pretty close after that. So anyways, I think we'll see that again in reverse direction. So a little bit of sand here, so I knew I needed to make sure I was putting out some good power, being ready to move forward a little bit, because you kind of lose some draft ability in this thick of sand. As you can see, none of us are on gravel bikes. There was 0 point there was 0 point in doing a gravel bike that early in the race. The rooftop climb would have been awful on a gravel bike, but you will see that people will actually switch their bikes before the last climb because it is all gravel. My teammate here, Jay Bake, she is going to switch and she passes so many people, so that worked really well for her. I end up not switching because I'm with this group when we reached the last climb, so that was going to be my decision. If I was with a group, I wasn't going to switch. If I was by myself, I might as well switch bikes. So I will end up not switching, but she does, and she ends up passing me and staying in a group ahead of me, so worked super well for her. But as you can see, this is a really large group, and I didn't really want to lose any momentum that this group was providing. So anyways, now we're back out in the country. I've still got my feather. I don't think we're going to go through another banner before the next climb, which is, I assume, why they gave us the feather. So we'll just be saving this feather and enjoy the scenery. I think it's interesting to note at this point that you can see in the little mini map there are 2 groups in front of us, and the next group isn't too far away. I'm trying to remember if we catch this group. It's really hard because the group I am currently in is huge. There's so many people, so I can't see up far enough of how far away they are, but honestly that looks like maybe only 8-ish seconds. It's hard to tell distance, and I can see they just dropped someone, so I think we're gonna come up on this person. Oh yeah, they're right there. You can see them right now, so surely it's no more than 8 seconds. So we're gonna sweep this person up and we'll see. I was definitely focusing on the race and not as much catching. I think people in the front maybe were thinking about it, but we've just hit the castle QOM. I was right, the castle one was next. And it's pretty rolly until we get to the actual like castle part. You'll be able to see it looks like a little village. So there's not too much up yet. I really don't know this QOM very well. I should have researched it just a little, spent a little bit more time studying it, because I think I probably used my feather in the wrong spot. I did know to not use it yet, but I think I could have used it in a better place. Still worked out, and I feel like I did a good job on this climb. But let's see if we catch anyone else in this second group. As you can see, it's already broken up a little bit. I can already spy some people up front, and we'll just see what happens on this climb. Very rolly. You'll see lots of up and down, hardly any just up for a while. Okay, so yes, I dropped my feather here, and it's not that steep. I'm wondering if I should have saved it. Now we're all the way down to like 0%. I think this is where I really wanted it, and I probably should have saved it to around that corner. But once again, the climbing sections are so short. I probably did use it just fine. And I knew the rest of this part was rolly, so who knows, maybe that was the best place to do it. But yeah, we're staying. I think these 2 people were from our original group, and they kind of went off the front at the very beginning of the climb, so I don't think we're catching anyone quite yet in the second group. They look like they're staying pretty well away, but our group is staying together, and we haven't let anyone go solo or small group. one of the hard things about these climbs for me is I see the times come up of the people go through the front, and I'm like, I wonder where I am. I wonder if it's worth trying to go for FTS at this point. Like, just keep pushing to the banner. I have no idea. For sprints, it's easy. I'm like, well, it's been about 6 seconds. And I definitely do not make the top 10 for this one. So what do I get? 20, 30, 36th. So this is just not my thing. I am not the fastest up these climbs, but I have stayed with the group, and that was a really big deal for me, to be able to do that. All right, so Steamroller power up. This is a huge power up, and it's worth so much because when you hit really sticky, I shouldn't say sticky, sucky, really sucky is the best word, sucky sand and dirt. Wow, it makes a huge difference. I remember a few years ago for ZRL, I don't think it had been a power-up yet that was used for ZRL, and it was used in Watopia, and everyone dropped it in this one slightly uphill dirt section, and the whole group just split, and that was it. They never came back. And I got one, and I was able to stay with the group, and just the speed difference was massive. So if you don't know, the Steamroller makes any surface like a road surface. So if you're in the dirt, it's like you're on the road. So the harder surface to get through on Zwift's coating, the faster you're going to be if you're using that Steamroller against someone else who does not have it. So you can see a lot of people dropped it on those cobbles. Cobbles are not that hard. Cobbles are probably at the top of the list for non-road surfaces that are easiest to get through quickly. Dirt and sand are on the lowest. So I'm going to save it for the tumble climb because that one's all dirt and it's kind of sandy. And it's definitely going to be more helpful there. So once again, I was sad to see so many people choosing to use it on that little very brief section of cobbles. Like, this is the kind of stuff that you want to use it on. And here we are. Man, these climbs come so quickly together, I guess, especially when I have the video 2 times speed. But this is the long climb. So this climb usually takes me a good 8 to 10 minutes. So this one's going to be longer. And it's all this kind of surface until you get to the very top. And there's some bridges. I think maybe a little bit of paved, or it's like hardened dirt. You can kind of see how Zwift has designed it to look like tire tracks going through. That's how you kind of know that it's a pretty loose surface, so it's going to be harder to get through. It's going to really suck your bike down into the ground. So the Steamroller is going to work really well for this. So at some point, my teammate J Bake has already made her bike change. She's 6 seconds back, but it's going to be really fun to watch her come up. So yeah, she's 2 places behind me now. She's 1 place behind me already. She's like on me, and she's just going to keep going because, yeah, there she goes on her gravel bike. Amazing. I was so excited that she did so well. All right, so I'm dropping my Steamroller. Everyone's dropping their Steamroller. So those who do not have it, yeah, look at that speed. It's amazing how much it can change the surface. But that was it. Now I have to do it all on my own. And I just do my best to kind of pace it up this climb, not go super crazy. I know 10 minutes is not my strength, so I'm just going to do my best and try to stay with as many people as possible and push myself. Once again, I'm just really excited that I was able to stay with people this entire race. Like, I haven't been by myself this entire race. I mean, I guess that's gonna happen to most people when there's a field of 97. There's just a lot of abilities here. Everyone's just really trying to help out their team, and obviously people are having different strengths, but I was just really happy to be able to stay with this group. I think the order of the climbs really helped me. The first one is very punchy. So the people who are better at long term but not as punchy kind of got dropped with me a little bit. So even though I'm good at punchy, I couldn't stay with the front group who are both good at punchy and long term. So I ended up with people who were better at the long term steady, couldn't punch, couldn't stay with the front group in the first climb. But now we're all tired, so I'm able to kind of hang with people a little bit more evenly on this longer climb. So lots of different strengths. I mean, you'll just see us kind of ping pong from each other, and we all have someone we're chasing or someone we're trying to stay in front of. And you can always tell when I stand up, when my numbers get red. I am clearly standing up, trying to be with a group. But yeah, I was really happy with how this race did go for me. It's definitely not my kind of course, but I'm pretty pleased to be in the top half right now. I also feel like I should have studied this climb a little bit more. I feel like I know this climb, but I think just being tired, I don't always process where exactly I am. And I probably should have set a timer when I started so I knew how long I had been going. Because sometimes when I see those wood bridges, I think, oh, I'm almost there. And then I totally forgot about this section. 10%. Still at 10% in this sand to get through. And then we still have more. We had to kind of come around these last few corners and go over this river, I guess. There's like a waterfall and a lake. I saw those earlier bridges and I thought, oh, this is it. I just have a little bit left to go, but I needed to get to these bridges before I could say this was it. And so I think mentally I was a little bit like, oh, I'm super close. And here it is. But I still had that steep section to go. And it was just a little bit, I was probably a little bit off with my timing in that. But I have made it. I have a draft. I believe we're going to go through one more banner actually in this country before we go to the city. So I think I'm going to use this draft bonus at some point. I was also kind of sad. I couldn't really tuck. I'm sort of with people, but not really with people. And you can see, just look at how many people are scattered throughout this mini map. There's people everywhere, all in like little bitty groups. So this downhill is just it's not very recoverable. I'm not going to push it because I want to save, we still have 6 miles. I want to save being able to finish with the people I'm with. Well, I want to make sure that I don't get dropped by people who can still go like 3 something watts per kilogram, have enough energy. So I'm just going to recover on this downhill, let everyone else push. These two can go chase. That's fine with me. Because that's it. There we are. We're down the hill and no more recovery. So anyways, no, I guess there's a little bit more. Here's a little bit more downhill. We're almost to the bottom. I guess this would be the only place where I could super tuck. I don't remember if I actually do. I'm not pedaling, so hopefully I'm super tucking. And then, yeah, we're back to the road. This is a great place to use the drafting power up. I decided to use this one because I know we're getting a steamroller in this final section. The banner that we're going to go through gives us a steamroller, and I wanted it for that last little bit of sand, and it actually came in super handy. So that's going to be fun to watch. Anyways, so keep watching. We're almost done. Just under 5 miles. I'm with the group. Woohoo! And there we go. There's a steamroller that I knew was coming. So I'm going to use it in the section right before that tunnel where I said we're going out to the country. There's that little section of sand. So I will use it there. We're actually we're reversing. So we're going down the castle climb that we went up earlier. So once again, like you saw this climb coming up, not a ton of elevation all at once. So there's really no place to draft, just kind of relaxed speed. I'm just gonna chill. I'm on the front, but I'm not gonna really go too hard because there's no gaining anything in this section. When everyone's going downhill, I think we're just not big enough to really make a huge impact on chasing someone. But we can, once we hit the flat, really push it, and we can catch one or two individuals pretty easily. Alright, so we have about 3 miles left. It's basically flat now. We're going to be going back to the city. I don't really think there's anything more than maybe 4%. Okay, there's a 4%. So we shouldn't be seeing anything more than 4 or minus 4%. We have passed the last dots for the beginning of the castle climb we did on the way back. You can see there's someone 5 seconds, someone 7 seconds, or 2 people 7 seconds ahead of us. So there's a few stragglers that I think we're going to try and pick up. I'm just very happy to sit in. And I'll do a little bit of pulling just to try and grab this group because I know there's 4 of us. So I'm going to do a little bit of an effort and then just sit in and recover as well as I can. And just see who else wants to kind of pull. So now I'm backing off, letting someone else go. A little bit of teamwork here. Well, group work, not teamwork. A little bit of group work in this section. Alright, so we're moving on this group here. I think that one person that was by themselves actually caught the 2 that were in front of her. But then we caught all 3 of them, which was kind of nice because then we catch all 3 at once. And we're just going to keep our speed going, and now we have a bigger group. I always think everyone kind of panics just a little bit here. I'm like, no, just chill. We can all stay together as a group. Because you see, I had a lot of speed there, but I timed it, so I never actually went to the front. That's my favorite thing to do, is make sure I'm there, but I never actually go to the front. Alright, under 2 miles, we're getting really close. We should be approaching the dirt road section pretty quickly. Looks like the next person in front of us is 8 seconds ahead. You can just see them off in the distance. So I believe we're going to catch this person. So we shall see how that goes. And here's the dirt. I'm going to drop my steamroller. Someone else, I was ready. Someone else drops their steamroller here. And I knew if people did, if people used their draft and picked up a steamroller, this is the only place where it makes sense to use it. And look at that speed. Look at the speed with which we pass that single rider. And we now have 2 seconds on the group we were with. So I'm ready. I'm like, this is good. Let's see if we can stay away. So I'm gonna stay back here and we'll just see what happens. It's amazing how much it split that group. You can see this person stayed with us, but they had to fight really hard. And yeah, now it's 2 to 4 seconds behind. So it was a really good move. And I think it looks like there's still someone 8 seconds in front of us. And I think we're going to catch them, which is just super cool how this speed actually worked out. Yep, there we go. We got one more person to catch. We're just going to fly right on by. All right, point 3. This finish can kind of sneak up on you, so we'll just enjoy the ending. And thanks again so much for watching.